Hey guys, happy Wednesday. So today we're going to be talking about clean eating, our nutrition, and how to use our 21 Day Fix containers. So I know you guys hear that topic of conversation all the time, clean eating, and some of you are like, I don't really understand what that means. Like, what are you talking about? Well, clean eating is just eating food in its closest to its natural form. And so it means eating, actual food and not food out of boxes or packages. And so it doesn't mean that we are denying flavor. It doesn't mean that we're eating boring, bland stuff. I mean, you guys have seen some of the meals I've posted, in our group. It just means that we're eating with the least amount of ingredients as possible. So my rule of thumb is always 3 ingredients or less. If you are in the store and you pick up something and you look at it, a great example is applesauce. If you just grab a generic, jar of applesauce off of the shelf and you look at it, you're going to see that there's typically a whole lot of additives and preservatives and those kind of things. Whereas there's, certain brands of applesauce that have just apples in it. That would be your more your better choice. It doesn't mean that you have to buy everything organic, while organic is better. Sometimes that label is just slapped onto things and the price jacked up. So you just want to be cautious. You want to look at the ingredients. One of my rules of thumb is always when you're shopping, typically I shop the outer area of the grocery store. There aren't a lot of things that I need in the middle aisles. There are maybe a few things that you have to pick up, but most typically the outer area of the grocery store is where you will get the majority of your groceries from. One of the biggest myths that I hear all the time is that eating healthier is more expensive. And you can look at this one of two ways. I look at it as number one, what I'm eating now and what I'm putting into my body is paying off long term. Adding all the preservatives and chemicals and artificial flavors and artificial colors is what's going to end up costing me prescriptions and doctor's visits and, being sick and those kind of things. And so that's one way to look at it. The second way is I'm always very cautious of what I'm buying. I look at vegetables that are in season. I look at things that are on sale. I am very much a bargain shopper with a family of 5 and a tight budget. I keep things simple to my list. That's why meal planning is so important because when I go into the store, I have an exact list of what it is I need, and those are the only items I'm looking for. I also shop at places like Aldi and Trader Joe's. We do have a Costco membership, so some things I'll get there because they're cheaper in bulk than as if I were to buy them at the store. So, we're going to talk a lot about that the next couple days about what clean eating looks like. So, one of your homework assignments today is I want you to go through your pantry and want you to clean things out that you know that you shouldn't be eating. Things like cookies and, chips and sugared beverages and those kind of things. Now, I'm not saying, I've said this before, we're not 100%. My rule of thumb is always 80-20. I really strive to eat clean 80% of the time because I know I'm not going to be perfect, and that other 20% I leave for room. If something happens or if we go out to eat or I want to enjoy a dessert, I still enjoy those things. I just do them in moderation. And I'm less likely to have those cookies and crackers and chips and those kind of things when they're in my cupboard. Um, so that's your first homework assignment. Then I want you to really be thinking about, you guys have started practicing with your meal plans this week and you've seen what they look like. You've seen what, it's good, normal food. Like we're not eating anything weird. And so I want you to really start thinking about what next week is going to look like and how you're going to start preparing. Because next we're going to talk about how we use our 21 Day Fix containers and what that looks like. And if you're doing a program that doesn't use the containers, you might look into investing them only because, I truly believe in learning about portion control, and these have just been game changing for understanding how much we should be eating of everything and, what our plate should actually look like. So, I'm going to take my nutrition guide. It doesn't matter what nutrition guide you have or what program you have. There's, a quiz in every single program. So I'm going to go to page 4 in 21 Day Fix, and I'm going to calculate my current weight, my caloric baseline, and then my calorie needs depending on, my workouts and what I'm doing. Once I finish that, I'm then going to go to page 19, and it's going to allow me to see, if you can see just a little bit closer, there's different calorie brackets. I'm going to take a look at what calorie bracket I'm in. For me, I'm in the lowest calorie bracket. So that means that each day I get 3 of my green containers. So that means I need to make sure that I'm getting in at least 3 servings of vegetable a day. It means that I'm getting at least 2 servings of my fruit. It means that I'm getting at least 4 servings of my protein, 2 servings of my yellow, which has gone missing, 1 serving of my blue, which is my healthy fats and dairy, and then 1 serving of my orange, which is my nuts and seeds and dressings, and then 2 teaspoons. And so when looking at the meals that I'm having, so I want you guys to start thinking about this. Even if you don't have your meal plan, you can log online to Beachbody On Demand. I can get on right now and open up the nutrition guide. And so I have it open right here. You can see the FAQ, so any of the frequently asked questions about your program. You can see the nutrition guide in its entirety, so even if you don't have your program, you can start looking at it and start reading through it, to get ahead of the game. So I'm taking a look at, what foods I can have. I'm going to post just a normal, like clean eating grocery list that I like to use and just keep on hand so I know, hey, these are some good items to have. So then I'm going to take a look at the list of foods, and I want to tell you guys this little trick that I learned. So, for instance, we have our green list of vegetables. Now, you would be tempted to go through and just look at and pick out the things that you like, but I want you guys to keep something in mind. The items that are at the top, the list of foods are done in a hierarchy, meaning the foods that are at the top of the list have more nutritional value, micronutrients that are good for your body. So you want to try and stick to the top of the list. So for instance, if I'm looking at my vegetables, kale and collard greens and spinach are at the top. Those are going to be better options for me versus the sprouts and the radishes and the mushrooms that are on the very bottom. Okay, it's the same thing, for instance, with our yellow, our carbs. Okay, sweet potatoes are the best carb that you can have. It's a natural carb versus the tortillas on the bottom or the pancakes or the waffles. So you want to try and stick to the top of the list. You're going to get more nutritional value. The food's going to be more satisfying and more fulfilling. So those are a couple of things to keep in mind. Tomorrow I will post the meal plan for next week, but I want you guys to start thinking, like Thursdays is our day we're going to meal plan, we're going to sit down, we're going to look at what next week looks like, and I'm going to look at the foods I can have, and really start to think about, what my day should look like. A couple of tips that I always say. My veggies are my hardest to get in. I'm super picky. I don't like a lot of things. My rule of thumb is I always try something at least once. If I don't like it, then I don't have to eat it because it's the rule I give the kids, so I might as well give it to myself. But a great way to get your greens in is putting them into your Shakeology. So I will take a green of spinach and I'll put it into my daily Shakeology. You can't taste it now. It doesn't make it look very pretty, but you can't taste it. And so it's a great way to get your added green, add it to your Shakeology. You've now got one more in, and you haven't had to cook anything else. So I hope that answers your questions about clean eating. I'm going to continue posting some more things to help you just kind of realize and give you some tips on how we grocery shop and what that looks like for the week. If you have any questions, post them below because I know there's a lot of questions about how your containers, how to use your containers, what you do with them, and how you go about using them. I don't personally take my containers everywhere or use them all the time because I'll prep things ahead of time. So for instance, if I know I'm gonna go on the road, then I'll take my purple and I'll measure out some fruit, and then that way I have it already bagged up and ready to go. but I will use them sometimes when I'm out, you know, with friends or at dinner or whatever. Like I'll take them with me. I'll use them in the restaurant, and you know, it really helps keep things on track, even though you know, I'm not at home where I can control everything. So post your questions below for today's clean eating topic so that we can make sure to help answer them. And I hope you guys have a great day.